Hey everyone, welcome back to another week in my books. And I am happy to report that I managed to backfill like this entire techo. It didn't actually take like super long because it was only like a month and maybe a month and a half worth of backfilling, which I know sounds like a lot, but I think given that it's pretty easy to just backfill a book when you're basing it off notes that already exist, you know? I already have all of these notes written out in my previous book, in my previous planner, so it was just kind of easy to backfill. And then I always have like a collage of photos ready to print out. But yeah, it was pretty fun, pretty like therapeutic, I would say even. I actually kind of enjoyed backfilling in this book because this is just my personal planner and I only use it for like personal life stuff. And I felt like looking back on all my notes for February and even for some of January was kind of nice just because like we're already in April now, and so 4 months into the new year already. And I don't know, whenever I feel like time is going by too fast, I start feeling kind of somber. I don't know, just because I'm getting older and like I just want time to slow down a little bit, just chill a little bit. And it feels like time is moving by really quickly again, and it kind of feels depressing sometimes when I feel like time is moving too quickly, especially if I haven't like felt like I haven't done anything. And I just think it's kind of nice to be able to look back on some of my January and February notes, and even like, you know, going into March, because it's slowed down time a little bit, like it stopped time just a bit, and helped me kind of, it also kind of helped me like appreciate some of the things that, like some of the small wins and small victories of the year so far. I think it's really easy to take life for granted. I know this is going to sound like corny and like typical or cliche, but like it's true, right? Like I think it's super easy to take like little things for granted. And a lot of times I feel like I'm a complainer for sure. Like I complain about being in pain or having an illness or chronic illness or like whatever it is, like, or just like life getting me down and being frustrated. And I know I'm a complainer, but like whenever I look back and I see like, oh, there was a bunch of bad days, and then I find like a little victory sprinkled in somewhere, like, oh, my back doesn't hurt that much anymore, I can sit down for more than an hour and journal again and stuff like that. Those small victories, like I take for granted all the time. And I'm just like, you know what? Like I remember feeling so good when I stopped having that chronic, like really bad sciatica flare up that I had for like the whole month of February. And I just remember feeling so relieved when I no longer was crying every single morning just getting out of bed because of how excruciating the pain was. And like, it's so easy to take stuff for granted because like, you know, like I wake up normally now, I'm not in excruciating pain right now. And so I'm just like, oh, everything's normal again. But then I have bad days and I start complaining. and then like going back and then, you know, remembering like those victory moments where I was feeling better and it felt good again. Like let's hold on to that feeling just a little bit longer. Like let's appreciate those wins a little longer. So yeah, I don't know. I used to like not really like backfilling too much just because I felt like it's a lot of work for no reason. And I just felt like, oh, I just need to be happy with blank pages. It's okay to have blank pages. It's not the end of the world. As long as you're using the notebook, it's not really wasting the book, right? It's not really wasting the paper. But I think backfilling is just nice and can be kind of therapeutic. But if you are somebody who like, I don't know, feels like you have a lot of negative notes, maybe backfilling isn't super great for your mental health. But for me, I do try not to like write too many negative thoughts. I think, especially with my planner anyway, I'm not really journaling negative thoughts here anyway. It's more just like in February, I would see a lot of notes like, I have to do this and that for my sciatica pains. And, you know, like plan my day around kind of like how I'm feeling. And then like, as we went into March and I started feeling better, I could start planning things more normally. Like, oh, I can take my dog on an extra walk this afternoon because I can, if that makes sense. So that is what I mean by like seeing the wins. I'm not necessarily writing too many like deep thoughts in here or anything like that. But I do see like where the negative days were and the positive days were based on like how I was planning my day or my week. But we are here now. This is currently, as of filming this, it's the 3rd of April. So pretty caught up now, and I'm pretty happy with the techo, which is a very surprise win in itself. So of course I had to write about this being a win in itself. So I pretty much was consistently using this for March. Well, I think I started using it like the second week of March or something like that. Or maybe, when did I start using this? I'm sure I have it documented in my videos. I think I started here, the 10th. That's my guess. I think I started here and then I had to backfill like this full week, maybe. I don't know. I can't keep up, but I'm sure it's in my notes somewhere that I started when I started back into the techo. But yeah, we are doing pretty good here. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty caught up, and I don't know, I do feel good that I was able to backfill, just because there's something nice about being able to just look back full filled pages. So right now I think is a good time for planner hopping as well, if you're thinking about like switching books, just because in the grand scheme of things, 3 months of backfill isn't really that crazy, you know. I think I did the whole February backfill in like an hour. Like basically what I did was I already had the notes right from my previous book. I also did borrow some notes from my pocket notebook where I have notes written in it daily. So I recommend being able to just like write any kind of notes down daily in a notebook somewhere, because if you ever do want to backfill in a new book, those kind of like notebooks that just have all of your notes in one place, like highlights of the day or important things to remember, like it just makes it so much easier to backfill, because really I didn't have to like think about anything when I already had the notes written out. So basically what I did was I went back in my notes, wrote down all of the stuff, and then I wrote everything in here first, and then I just left some room for the photo. And then I went into Photoshop, made like a collage of, in this case, like 28 days worth. I think it was more than 28 days, but just for example, like 28 little photos, like a photo grid. And then I just like marked down what date I wanted to use those photos for. So like I'll just write like 2/4, 2/5, etc. And then I cut all the photos out and then stick them in, and it's super easy. Sometimes the photos are a little bit more arbitrary, like they're just aesthetic because I don't have like a photo for that day. Like in this one, I didn't really, well, this page, for example, like I think I just pulled these from Pinterest. I didn't really know what to put here, so I just put something cute and something related to matcha because I was drinking matcha that day, I guess. I don't know. I think I ordered new matcha powder. Yeah, that's what happened. So that was kind of like a fun little thing for me to backfill the pages. And now that I'm caught up, I feel a little bit at peace with this book even more. Like I feel like I can just kind of move forward, because ultimately my goal is to stick to one planner. I would like to stick to one planner, although so far I have never been able to stick to one planner, like ever. So hoping 2025 is the championship year that I find my championship book. and I don't know why I'm calling it championship. My boyfriend is really into hockey, so naturally I am a hockey girlfriend by default because it's always playing in the house. And like the NHL is having playoffs, I think next week or in 2 weeks or something like that. So he's just like all geared up for playoff season, and his team, the Maple Leafs, because we're in Toronto, has like not won a championship. So all I hear is like, I need them to, maybe this will be the year. This, like every year in the last 5 years he's like, that I've been dating him, he's like, maybe this will be the year. Maybe this will be the year that they finally win or whatever. And so that's been stuck in my head. So I'm hoping that too with my notebook. I hope this is the year that the planner, like I have a championship planner, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's even making sense. Anyway, so this is just my work planner. I mentioned this in my last video, but I don't really want to share too much with this planner because it's like my work has like proprietary stuff in there, and I feel like I naturally want to write about it in my planner. So I don't really feel like it's really worth sharing anyway. I mean, it's just, sometimes it's blank even, and most of the time it's going to be notes. So I am using this as functionally as possible. This was the first week I bought this planner, so I did kind of decorate it a little bit. As you'll see, like I decorated a little bit, and then we got to this week where I'm like barely doing anything to it. I'll probably leave it as is because I just can't be fussed. This planner needs to be functional for me, and I can't be fussed. So this is really the one that's replacing my custom rings planner, if anything, because I mostly use that planner for for work. I mean, I did have personal notes in there as well, but not as much. So I think that's why this is working out well for me, because I didn't really have a place for my personal planning. I kind of try to put everything into one book, and if you haven't seen it, this is my A6 or my personal size rings planner that I was using for 3 months, basically up until March. And then like midway through March is when I switched to back to the techo. But yeah, I was kind of just trying to use a one planner for everything sort of thing. Like I was just writing everything in here, personal and work stuff, but it wasn't working. I think those of you who know me by now know that like I have to compartmentalize like every little thing because I don't know, my brain can't seem to grasp putting everything into one notebook or one planner, which sucks, which is annoying. But I did initially want to just have like an everything planner, like a planner, just one planner for everything. I feel like that's what most people do anyway. Like there's no need to have like 2, 3, 4 planners. I think it's a lot. I don't even like planning to begin with. So I tried to make it like an all-in-one, and I don't know. I wish my brain would function that way, because it would make my life easier, and it would also be easier on my wallet, so I don't have to keep buying planners. But I tried my best to customize this to where I felt like it would really work for both work and for personal stuff, like especially this top part here, the tracker for personal stuff. I'm trying not to like look too far into this rings planner, because when I keep going back to it and I keep looking through it, I start to miss it again, which is bad. I mean, it's not bad, but it's like, I like make up your mind, woman, right? But I kind of wish, I don't know what to do. I also had to like print out all of these notes or these pages every single month. I have to print them out and cut them myself. So that was tedious and kind of annoying as well. And I think that is part of the reason I was persuaded to go back into a pre-made bound book. But I don't know. This will always be here. The beauty of this is that I don't feel like I'm wasting paper, because again, I had to print and cut everything out myself. So no harm, no foul. Like if I wanted to go back in this, then I can just print more pages out. It's not like I'm wasting any paper. But yeah, I mean, that one eventually started turning into a work planner, because again, I had to compartmentalize. But then I was like lost because I didn't have a place for personal notes. And so I think that's why having 2 different books, work and personal, is kind of working out for me. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It's been good so far. This is the most planner piece I felt in a while, believe it or not. Like, I know it seems chaotic, but it was so much worse in previous years. And then lastly, I have my big kahuna, my creative journal. And I am a little bit growing, like, increasingly concerned for the state, the physical state of this bound book, because the spine is falling apart. I've had to glue the spine pieces, like, or not glue, like tape, very badly taped, mind you. I've had to like tape these pages multiple times because they keep falling apart. So I'm getting a little bit worried. So what's funny is that like my boyfriend was, I was like taping this together one night and he was like, why don't you just like restart in another book, like in a new book? And I'm like, I know, but I'm trying not to. Like, I'm trying not to. I do have a book on standby. I do have a book on standby just in case that this thing does physically fall apart. And I hope it doesn't. And I won't be wasting the book either. Like, if I don't end up, basically I'm going to try and stick to this up until June. That's my goal. Just my one goal is like try and stick to this till June. And if it falls apart, then we can switch. But I really don't want to. I want to have everything in one book to look at the end of the year. I think that's the most fun. But if we have to come to that point, or if we get to that point by June, then yeah, I'll switch and then it's whatever. But if I feel like good past June, I'm just going to stick it out because by then it's like, well, whatever. Like, just might as well just stick it out. But I think what I might do is that I do have some alternative plans for that notebook either way. So it won't be a waste. But I do have a alternative notebook on standby just in case this thing completely falls apart. Also, look how chunky it is, and it's only been 3 months. This is like really only 3 months worth of journaling. It's getting really chunky. I run into this issue every year, so it's nothing new, but like writing on the left side when it starts getting chunky is like very, very annoying. And I write with fountain pen ink. I don't have the best penmanship or anything like that, but I like to try and write neatly if at all possible. So it's kind of irritating trying to write on the left side because it's getting really chunky and like very wrinkly and like falling apart and stuff. So like I prefer just writing on the right. I think a lot of us do this though, right? Like it's easier to write on the clean side where it's flatter and like, you know, just easier to write on as opposed to the left side which has all these like previous pages kind of making it hard to, like a harder surface to write on or a squishier surface to write on. So I mentioned in last week's video that I did not have an update for this book. But I did end up backfilling. I'm usually pretty consistent. Like I'm pretty good at backfilling or being consistent with my creative journal here because it's like my one creative journal. I only allow myself to just have one because if I start having more than one creative journal, I will be too overwhelmed to stay consistent. So I just do one. And then every other notebook I have is usually just like writings, like mostly writing heavy. But this one I like to mix in a little bit of the aesthetic with writing as well. So I think this is the last page that I may have shared on my channel so far. So I think, yeah, this is like mid-March, but I'm going to pretty much just flip through. I'm going to flip through like all of March just because I wanted to share like the overview of how March has been. And then we'll reconvene when we get into the April portion. Oh, and this is the March dashboard. Also show you guys the February dashboard. And then I'll show you the April dashboard. So this was February. I didn't make a dashboard for January, to be honest. Even though that's like the one that most people want to like decorate. For some reason, I did not. But yeah, so that was February. This is March. This was the season 2 finale of Severance, which honestly is like one of my favorite shows now of like ever. But yeah, don't look too far into this if you have not caught up. But nothing spoilers image wise really. But yeah, I freaking love this finale episode so much. I just love the show so much. It's such a good show. I made this little days of the week in Japanese thing because I was learning Japanese or relearning some Japanese. I got a new ink. It's called Emotional Olive from Teranishi, and I also like use this little paper in the back here with the same color, or I think it's a little bit mixed, a mixture of colors, but I'm just obsessed with this ink. This Emotional Olive color is just so good. It's such a nice like brownish green, which I am very much a big fan of. Ooh, okay. This is one of my favorite spreads, I think, in this whole book. I definitely have like favorite. I can probably show you guys like the top 4 favorite spreads I have so far in this whole book. Maybe I'll save that for a different video, but like honestly, I don't really have like too many spreads where I think they're like really, really good. And so this is definitely one of the very few that I really love. And I can't tell you like why exactly I love it, like what makes me really gravitate towards certain spreads. I think it's a mixture of having like some kind of like tactile feeling. Like even with these little paint swatches, they have a little bit of a tactile texture. I don't know. Like I think I kind of gravitate towards the more simplistic pages where there's kind of like half writing, like an equal parts of like writing and equal parts of visual aesthetics. But yeah, I just really, really like the way these two like pages came out. Sometimes simple is better too. Down here, this is kind of funny, but like this part is really messy, but I still like it. The reason it's messy is because initially I was writing here first. Like I don't really have a hierarchy of order of how I write, but I started here with this pen, and cautionary tale of don't leave your fountain pen inks in a pen for too long if you're not going to use it. Like just throw it out or whatever, because it'll probably like clog the nib, and this one definitely got clogged and it was really difficult to write with. So then I tried to like practice writing here to see if I could continue writing it up here, and unfortunately it just wouldn't give. So that's why this area is so messy. It just has like random testing, testing of the pen that I was trying to use. And then I just gave up and used my other pen with a darker ink, which is fine. But I kind of like it. I don't know. I think I like that there's green here and browns, and then there's green here and a brown, I guess. Not always intentional either. Like, I'm not always like thinking through what a spread looks like. Sometimes it's just going with the flow. Like, actually, like 90% of the time, I'm just like going with the flow. So, and then we made it to here, which is April. So this is my April spread, which I really, really like, or my April dashboard. Very blue, because I'm super into this sky blue color all of a sudden for some reason. Like this baby sky blue. Got some little April shower photos in the background, and all-time favorite movie, of course. So I tried to just make the first entry with the dashboard like very aesthetic. The only thing I kind of regret is writing with this super, super light brown ink. I kind of wish I chose a green or a blue maybe. I don't know why I chose this light brown color. I really don't. I thought that it needed a little bit of contrast, I guess, because I don't want the whole page to be blue. But yeah, I messed up there. I should have just used this ink and rolled with it, but whatever, it's not the end of the world. I just kind of half-assed like set up this April 2nd page, which I need to fill in today or over the weekend or whatever. I usually like kind of do backfilling during the weekend, since I don't really have as much time during the weekday. But that's it. That is the latest update and how far I've gotten so far with my books. And it's been fun. Honestly, have just been really enjoying journaling and planning this year so far. I know it's a little bit chaotic with the planning, but even so, this is still my best. This is the best I've done so far. So going with the wins, whatever wins I can get. So that is all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.